Hello everyone, my name is Falak. You're welcome back to my channel, and the name of my channel is Falakenia Toast. If you're just joining me for the first time, you're welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload a new video. Thank you for those who have been subscribing, for those who have been giving me thumbs up. I really appreciate you. If you have never given me thumbs up, what did I do? So please don't forget to give me thumbs up. It will really help me. Thank you so much. I hope we are still doing well. I hope we are all doing good. I hope we are all keeping safe. I know the battle is almost won. We are going to go back to our normal life very, very soon. God is in control. He's never going to leave us alone. So let us just continue to do the right thing. I know it is not easy. I know it is very tedious. But with all our efforts, we can win together. So let us do the right thing. Let us make sure we mask up if we have to go out, and let us make sure we wash our hands as often as possible, and make sure we use our hands sanitizers. So please, let's follow the laid down rules and regulations. The Lord is going to help us, and I know we're going to win. Yeah, today I want to share with you a very important topic, another very crucial topic, and that is, what do you need to consider when you need to move from one country to the other, or from one state to the other. This conversation actually came by because somebody asked me that, why did you move from your country to this place, and what did you do before you move? What are the things you do before you move? And I did a lot of things, and I'm going to share with you some of the tips, some of the things you need to do before you consider to move from one place to the other. It is very important for you to know what to do. Don't just move because someone is moving. Don't just leave your country and go to another person's country because it is people are going to that country. You have to be really sure that you're ready and prepared. Don't just move because others are moving. Don't move because your friends are moving. Move because you are sure of yourself and you are really sure that you need to move. That's the first thing. Don't move because others are moving. Another person's destiny is different from yours. So make sure you know that it is God's will. That's the first thing. Make sure you pray about the decision. Make sure you pray to God about that before you move, either from one country to the other or from one state to the other. Make sure you put it in the hands of God. Make sure you commit your movements, you commit your journey, you commit your decision into the hands of God. Don't just move because others are moving. Don't just move. Don't relocate because others are moving. Everybody has different purpose and plan. God has different purposes and plan for everybody. So the first thing is that seek the will of God. Seek the face of God. Make sure it is God's will for you. Pray about it. Pray about it very well. Pray and fast about it very well before you consider moving. The second thing you need to do is that do your background checking. Make sure you consider all the things that is in the place. Don't just move like that. Make sure you know what you're going to prepare for. Make sure you prepare for your movement. Know where you're going. Make sure you do your checking thoroughly. Don't ask anybody to do it for you. Do it yourself. You can ask somebody to assist you in checking the place, but this is you that is going to live there. Do it yourself. If it's a country that you cannot visit, you have to make sure you Google it very well. You have to make sure you ask questions. If possible, talk to people that are living there so that they will tell you what you're going to get there. So don't just move like that. Make sure you have all the correct information about the place. Make sure you know what you're going to meet over there. Make sure you make all your thorough investigation Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you get vital information about the place. The third thing you need to do is, I've told you, ask questions about the place. Make your inquiries. Make thorough inquiries. And make sure you ask from the right people. Make sure you ask questions from right people. Make sure you ask questions from those that knows the place very well. That knows the place very well, in and out. Not just anybody that maybe just moved in like 1 year, 5 months. You need to know those people that really know everything about the place. Make sure that you ask good questions from those people, not wrong people. So make sure not just asking the question, but make sure you're asking from genuine people. Make sure that you ask questions from people that will tell you the truth, not people that will hide things from you. So make sure you do your thorough investigation. That is why don't give the assignment to just anybody. Do it yourself. Except you have someone that you know you can trust to do the work thoroughly for you. If possible, if it's a place you can visit, visit before you relocate. Don't just go and move like that. Visit the place, check the place yourself. Look at it yourself. There's a saying, seeing is believing. Don't just move without seeing the place. Look at the place. Check the place yourself and make sure that you are convenient with whatever you see. You're convenient with what you see there. That is the third thing. The fourth thing is, if you are going with your children, make sure you find out about the educational system of the place. You need to know if you carry your children along, especially when you're coming with little children, you have to be careful so that you will not, you'll be able to be in tune with it. You will not be able to disrupt the children's education. Make sure there's a place that's educational friendly. There are some places you will go, you will not like. For instance, if you have to move to a place, a country whereby they don't even speak the same language. For instance, you're moving from maybe Nigeria, where we speak English language, and you are moving to Spain, and the children are already like 10 years old. It's going to be very hard for them to get used to the fact that they have to learn new language, because they have to learn Spanish. So you have to be careful. Or you are moving to China, you have to make sure that the educational system, you are in a place where the children can learn and they will not be left behind. I know in most of these countries they have all the languages, but make sure you go to a place that you know your children can easily adapt to the educational system of the place. Because that is a major thing. Even you yourself, you have to be ready to learn that language. If you are moving to a place where they don't speak your language, you yourself, for you to be able to communicate, even in the markets, in the store, in the offices, to go to the hospital, you have to learn their language. So those are the things you have to consider. Are you willing to learn the language? Are you willing to adapt to the language, to the educational system if you have to go to school? There are so many people, they can't learn language very well. They cannot adjust to language system very well. So you have to be careful. If you know you find yourself in that category, you better think twice and go to a country where you know that you can speak the language and you can flow very well. I'm even more concerned about the children. If you know you are going to carry your children along, make sure, especially when they are not babies, if the children are very little, like 2, 1, 3, they can easily learn language, because it's going to be like a mother tongue to them. It's going to be like the first language they get used to. But if they're already used to a particular language, a particular level of educational system, a particular way of formal education, it's going to be very hard for them to get used to it. They might get used to it. They will eventually get used to it, but it's going to take them a lot of time. And you don't want to waste your children's time. You don't want to disrupt the educational system. So make sure you consider all those little things, so make sure you make inquiries about the educational system. Make sure first the educational system is friendly. Make sure you're ready to learn the language, especially when you want to carry the children along. I think I'll be able to address two. That is language and education system. That is very, very important for yourself and for your family. I know some people, they move to a particular place, and when you ask them that, do you speak the language? They said no. So how do you do it? They said they have to employ somebody to be doing all those things for them. That is very wrong. There's a woman that the story went viral, that was in Germany, that was deported, and those are one of those things that really affected her, because she couldn't even speak any German words. So when they gave her something to sign, she just signed it. She didn't even know that what she was signing was deportation letter. But if you know the language, you can speak the language, you know everything about that country, nobody will just give you anything. You have to read it thoroughly and be sure that you're not signing your death sentence, God forbid, or you're not signing your deportation letter. Find out if the place is a safe place for you. There are some countries that are not safe. I'm talking of crimes now. There are some states that are not safe. There are some places you go, they are not safe. Especially when you have your children. The crime rate is so high that there's no how, except you're going to lock up your children 24/7, which is not even possible, because they are going to mingle with people outside. They will go outside and they will learn a lot of things. So make sure it's a place that the crime rate is low. Don't just move because the place they are making a lot of money. There are some places they have a lot of money, but the crime rate is very, very high. And you don't want to jeopardize your future or the future of your children just because of money. So you have to make sure it's a place that the crime rate is very, very low. That is why I said you have to do your thorough investigation, your thorough research about the place. So make sure it's a place that the crime rate is very, very minimal. Every place has one little tendency of crime, but make sure you choose the one that has the minimal crime rate. Whether you're moving to a country or you're moving to another state, or from one place to the other, make sure you consider that. It's very, very important for yourself, for your safety, and for the safety of your children. For your safety and for the safety of your family, you have to consider that. Don't just go to a place because they are making a lot of money there, and that is your reason for going. Make sure, is that money genuine? Is it a place that they are just dealing with drugs, and that is why they are making a lot of money? So those are the things you have to consider if you have to move to another place. I hope you understand that point. That is very, very vital too. Crime. May God help us. A lot of people have found themselves in a situation where they're not supposed to find themselves, just because they are living in a place where they're not supposed to live, just because they relocate to a place where they're not supposed to relocate to. So you have to be conscious of that. It is not every place that you can live in. It is not every place that you can train your children. It takes the grace of God. I know it takes the grace of God to train our children no matter where we stay. But there's some things you can avoid. There are some things you can prevent. So make sure you consider the crime rate of that particular place. Another vital point is that make sure you consider the work stability, the job stability you're going to do there. Make sure you find out about the job, because wherever you're moving to, you need to work. So make sure that you consider all those things. Is it a place that you can easily get a job, or you have to struggle before you get a job? How much do they pay? What is the minimum wage? Is their workplace friendly? Are they friendly in their workplace? Do they have job security? Because there are some places you can work and just ask you to go anytime, sack you, fire you. So those are the things you have to research about. How easily can I get a job? When I get a job, do I have a job security in this place? Third, how much am I going to be paid? Fourth, what about the condition of the working place? There are some places you will work and they will treat you like a slave. There are some countries, they treat their employees like a slave. There are some places I learned that they can lock you in cold room from morning till evening. And if you don't know, just because somebody told you that they pay very well, and you don't know, and maybe your health cannot even take that, but you move to the place just because of the money, you have to be very careful. What are the conditions of the place? Like I told you first, how fast can I get a job? What kind of jobs can I do there? How much will they pay me? What are the minimum wage? How secure and how reliable are those jobs? And how friendly are the bosses? How friendly are the employers? Those are things you have to take very, very serious. Don't just play with it. And that is why I said, make sure you ask questions from those that knows the place in and out. If you cannot visit the place, don't just go. There are some jobs that is not healthy. There are some jobs that is not reliable. Find out about the weather condition of the place. And when I'm talking about the weather, is it a place that you can easily get used to, acclimatized? Can you survive in the cold? Can you survive the heat of the place? It depends on your health. If you know your health cannot take a cold place, why will you go to a place that is very cold? If you know you cannot survive in a place that is very hot, why will you go to a place that is very, very hot? Very important. Don't just overlook it. You're going to live there. So you have to make sure that you are comfortable living there to some extent. Another vital thing, accommodation. Getting accommodation in the place. Can I easily get an accommodation in that place, in the country or in the states? And how much do you have to pay for those accommodations? There are some places you can get good job, but you can't get good accommodations. With a family, especially when you have to carry children, when you have to carry your family along, am I going to get a very good accommodation? I watched a video, I'm not going to mention the name of the country. The country is a big country, very, very big country. But when I look at the accommodation system, it's so crazy. I can't even imagine myself living in that country. I can't. Especially when you have to go with your children. And the person that was doing the review of the country said, before you can get a very good accommodation, you have to be super rich. Super rich. People are living like rats. Less than animal in that country. I'm going to mention the name of the country. So you have to be sure that the country you're moving your family to, the country you want to live, are you going to get accommodation first? Is it going to be a good accommodation? Is it a good place for you to live in? And how affordable are those accommodations? So that you will not end up using all your money to pay for accommodations. By the time maybe they pay you $1,000 in a month, and you have to pay like $700 or $500 for accommodation for a month, does it really worth it? Because you have other things to do. So you have to consider all those little things. It might look so small, but it matters because you have other things to do. You have to take care of your family, you have to feed your family, you have to pay your bills and everything. So if you're spending half of your money on accommodation, that is not too wise. So find out about the accommodation system, how affordable and how healthy are those accommodations. Another thing you have to consider is the transport facilities. Do they have a good transport facilities? Most of the countries you go there, maybe you can't even go with your car. Or even you are moving from one state to the other, you might not be able to, maybe you are not even mobile. Do they have a good transport facility so that you'll be able to move from one place to the other? If you have to go to work or if you have to go to any place, do they have good transport facilities? There are so many countries, if you don't have a car, you cannot survive. There are so many states, if you don't have a car, you cannot survive. And if they don't have good transport facilities, it's going to affect you. So you have to make sure they have good transport facilities, especially if you don't have a means of transportation yourself. That is another important fact you have to take note of. We have to also learn, we also have to take notes. If you want to go into business, what kind of business can you do there? What kind of business thrive? What kind of business thrive there? Especially for those of you who want to go into business. make sure you find out. It is not in every place you can make money when you go into business. You have to really be sure that those places is a place that is good for that particular business you have in mind. Even if you're working, make sure what kind of job can you do. For instance, if you want to do other business to kind of add to whatever you are getting, what kind of things can I do there? So make all those inquiries. It's going to help you. It's going to help your family. Another thing I want you to consider is religious tolerance. Are you going to go to a place where you'll be able to worship your God without anybody molesting you? How tolerant are they? There are some countries that are very good. They pay you well, but when it comes to religion, you can't do whatever you want. And if you're the kind of person that loves to practice your religion the way you want to, you have to make sure you consider all those things. Am I going to go to a place where I can worship my God the way I want to? It is important for those who value their religion, they value how to worship their God. Is it a place that will be good? I can freely worship my God the way I want to. I can freely serve my God the way I want to. Another thing you have to consider is it a place that they don't even accept other people? Are they racist? Are they ethnocentric? Do they show favoritism? There are some places they have different measure for different people. You might be working in the same place, they favor some set of people and they don't favor some set of people. They have different standards, different measurements. If you are kind of a very sensitive person, you will not be able to adapt into that kind of situation. You have to make sure you find out about that. Are they going to accept me the way I am? If I'm black or if I'm white, if I'm red, if I'm pink? Are they willing to accept my language? Are they willing to accept my tribe? Are they willing to accept me for who I am? Lastly, consider the natural disasters prone to that area. Consider the natural disasters. There are some places they have a particular natural disaster. There are some places that they are prone to tornadoes, earthquake, fire, and so on and so forth. Flooding, different kind of things. Especially when you have to go with your family. You don't have to risk the life of your family unnecessarily. Even if you can cope with the weather, what about those natural disasters? I know there's no place totally 100% safe when it comes to natural disasters. First, if you go to a place that they have a lot of frequent natural disasters, things that you cannot help, things that you cannot control, is going to destabilize you. You're not going to settle down because you keep moving from one place to the other. Because if there's any problem, for instance, if there's a flood, they will ask you to relocate, or you should move out of the place. Maybe you have to stop your job. You can imagine your children cannot be able to go to school for some time because of a particular problem. So those are the things you have to make sure that you take note of. Don't just move. Pray very well. Seek the will of God. Seek the face of God. Make sure you do your thorough investigations. Make sure you visit the place if possible. Google the place. Know the condition of the place. How secured, how safe is the place. Those things are very, very important. I hope you have been able to learn one or two things from this. If you have other things you want to add, please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and I'm going to appreciate that. Thank you for listening, and we're going to see you in my next one. But remember, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Thank you so much. See you in my next one. Bye.